Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming at you from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York, and from the LDL studio in South Florida. Glad you could join us. It's time for our heavyweight spotlight, and my partner in crime joins us right now, my main man, Tony Triem, out in Las Vegas. What's up, brother? Oh, you're not there, huh? We'll have to get Tony back on the line, and we'll see what the heck happened there. But I will get Tony back here, and we're actually going to be doing this show from on Wednesdays. On Tuesdays. We are doing it on a special time now because we're kicking off a whole new week of new programming. So we're glad you could join us. And normally with this show, what we like to do is talk about the heavyweights, the heavyweight division. Normally we have a predetermined heavyweight that we want to talk about. And tonight we're going to be talking general heavyweights. And I can't seem to get Tony back here. Of course, we're having an issue because we want to start the show now, and of course we're having a friggin' issue. So I happen to love it when this kind of stuff happens. But just chatting in the chat room a few minutes ago, and the guys got me rocking and rolling already. They started talking about Rocky Marciano. And my man Mojo 2 was saying that he really didn't think he was that skilled. Thought he was a fighter that he felt that was a little overrated and stuff like that. And I've said this about Rocky Marciano many times, that Rocky Marciano, I think what puts him in, and what started it was the Muhammad Ali. Everybody calls Muhammad Ali the greatest and all this other stuff. And if you're as old as me or older, and you remember when Muhammad Ali was actually boxing, there was a time when people, sometimes you loved them and sometimes you hated them. There was no all the time. At least a lot of people during that era. There were times when you liked them, and there was times that you didn't. And there were many people that absolutely hated Muhammad Ali. Now today, it's a different story because he's become bigger than boxing. He was basically not only an ambassador for boxing but for humanity. And today, everybody looks at Muhammad Ali as this great guy and everything else, which no problem. But when you start talking about boxing skill, his nickname, his self-imposed nickname was the greatest. And, a lot of people and some of the guys in the chat room were making some good points about, fans that may not be that knowledgeable often refer to Muhammad Ali as being the greatest heavyweight of all time. And I'm not so sure it's true, at least for me, it's not, so I think that there were many fighters that maybe not many, but I think Rocky Marciano, the whole point that I was stumbling along here is simply this. Muhammad Ali possessed skill. There's no question about it. He possessed boxing skill. He had hand speed. Of course, he had some defensive skill when he wanted to. There were some crazy game plans that he followed, specifically the rope-a-dope, where he basically on purpose took shots. But he had hand speed. He had power that most people underestimated. But he had a skill set. And when you start talking about Rocky Marciano, really, the Rocky Marciano is a guy that does not have skill set. If you're trying to listen live right now, you got to get over to the LDLTV.com. We are only broadcasting on LDLTV.com right now, live for the enhanced version. So check that out right now. And I know John. I was waiting for him to respond to me, but he wasn't. He was probably drinking his vodka right now. But the bottom line is you can check us out live right now on LDL TV. And we're talking about the heavyweights. I'm trying to get my man Tony back here on the line because, of course, we had no problems at all when we were doing the Talking Boxing with Billy C show about a half hour ago. And then now, when we need to get Tony on the line, everything's all effing up. And we started talking about Rocky Marciano in the chat room before. We got you now, right? Tony, are you there now? Well, this is great. I love when this kind of thing happens. Are you there now? Well, you know what? He can't hear me, and or he can hear me, and I can't hear him. So we're going to try him again. But when we were discussing Rocky Marciano before, my point with Rocky was that he is a guy that did not possess the skill set that other fighters do. Can you hear me now?
Hello, Bill.
Oh, okay. You can hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. I don't know what the F was going on, but Jesus, am I pissed. But anyway, Tony Triem is with us now. And, Tony, I was trying to do a dance and getting more friggin' aggravated every second of the way.
But I can't imagine that, Bill. Yeah. Not of you.
I know. What I was introducing is our heavyweight spotlight. Normally we focus on one fighter. Today we're going to talk heavyweights, generalized heavyweights, and some guys in the chat room brought up some interesting stuff, and they brought up Rocky Marciano, and I thought it was a great segue into what we should talk about now. I think he's an all-time great heavyweight, and not because of his skill set. Some of there's a guy in the chat room, Mofo, says, he wasn't a great fighter. He didn't have any skill. He's overrated and this and that. And you know what, Tony? I look at Rocky Marciano, and I say I think he's great because he did not have the skill. He did everything wrong. He did nothing the way you're supposed to do as a prize fighter, but yet his conditioning, his punching power, his will, his determination made him retire undefeated, and he was in some hell of a fights. What's your thoughts, man?
Can I say something before I go there?
Sure. It's your show.
Okay. Ernie Terrell called and wanted me to congratulate you on your show. He wanted to wish all your listeners Happy Father's Day that listen to your show. And he just thinks you're doing a great job, and he wanted for me to let you know that and pass that on to you.
Oh, cool. Ernie Terrell, is he still doing the music stuff?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. In fact, I've got him on the Jack Benny show. I've got a recording of him on the Jack Benny show when he was singing that song about Cassius Clay. He recorded that song, and he's the one, if the listeners don't remember him, he's the one that refused to call Muhammad Ali Muhammad Ali. He would only call him Cassius Clay, and Muhammad Ali really beat his butt pretty good over that. That really kicked off Ali, if the listeners don't remember that.
I thought that he was got into that band after boxing, and I know Jimmy Ellis was involved with him for a little while, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah. Ernie Terrell, his sisters, and Jimmy Ellis. Yes, they were all together in that. They sure were.
Cool. No, I remember I had Jimmy Ellis when I was promoting fights. I had Jimmy Ellis come, and Ernie Terrell was gonna come with them, and he had to cancel at the last minute, and that's all they talked about was their band days, and they were still performing, and this wasn't that long ago, before Jimmy Ellis got ill, but anyway, what's your thoughts on the Rocky Marciano comment?
Well, a lot of people, Bill, consider him the strongest of all time of the heavyweights and the hardest hitter. He had a tremendous chin, and he took considerable punishment, because he, like you said, he had no skill, he'd take 25 punches to get in and land one to knock you out. He was just a bull in the ring. I don't consider Marciano a bad fighter. I think he was a good champion. I mean, he fought them all. A lot of people, dispute that. They say everybody he fought was old. That all the heavyweights were old. Joe Louis, Jersey Joe Walcott, Ezra Charles, to name just a few of them. But if the guys stop and think, Ezra Charles almost had him beaten. He's the one that split his nose right down the center, and it was going to stop that fight. Marchand had 1 round to go out and finish the fighter, or the fight was over, and he was going to lose the title. So that was probably his toughest defense. But gosh, he fought some great guys, and
well,
I can't say anything bad about old Rocky,
That fight, it split his nose is an understatement. It was flopping around on his face, man. I mean, if anybody watching out there has never really watched those, both of the Ezra Charles fights were fantastic with Rocky Marciano. He was just. He was a devastating puncher, and even the Jersey Joe Walcott fight. I mean, he was losing that fight too until it was over. I mean, come on, Jersey Joe was doing everything he wanted in that fight. I mean,
until he caught him,
and that was the end of that.
Yeah, and that was the end of it. That's right.
I'm actually looking at that photo right now as we do our heavyweight spotlight, that famous crushing blow where that camera guy with those ancient Polaroids caught that. I mean, a perfect, talk about luck, and you could just see Jersey Joe's disfigured face.
That was a massive blow, man. Whoa.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, yes, it was.
I thought he was. I thought Rocky was a legit heavyweight. Of course, a great champion. And my point that I was trying to make in the chat room, which nobody's responding to me here, but my point that I was trying to make was that he was able to continue to win, Tony, without possessing the skill set of a Muhammad Ali or a guy like Larry Holmes or something like that. This guy did it on pure conditioning and strength. And to me, to overcome those, deficiencies, I think you got to get credit for that.
Well, I kind of look at, yes, you do have to give him credit. I thought he was kind of a brilliant type of a fighter. He was unbelievable. He just kind of crossed those arms and just waded in like a bull and swinging haymakers. He didn't have a jab. He didn't have a hook. He just threw haymakers and walked in and just tore your head off.
Well, he landed some.
He was a good heavyweight. He's a little man for a heavyweight. He wasn't very big, but I mean, he was just a bull.
He landed. He was the guy that was really good. You say he landed a lot of haymakers, but he was also pretty proficient at short, sharp, powerful shots in close. I mean,
inside, yes.
Yeah.
And he's a good inside fighter. Absolutely, was a great inside fighter. You bet he was.
Yeah, no, I listen. He's in my all-time top 10 heavyweights. I have to put him there, And another one of my favorites, anyway, and I know he's one of yours too. We always talk about him. Is Sonny Liston, and I think Sonny Liston doesn't get the credit he deserves today in the sport. A lot of people basically still treat him the way they did when he was alive and fighting. What's up with that? Why doesn't he get the respect that you and I give him?
Well, I think he's going to start getting that, Bill. There's a new book coming out on him. A lawyer here in Las Vegas wrote it. I'm trying to get a copy of it for you and me, as a matter of fact. I can't think of his name right now, and I didn't write it down. I wish I had it. I didn't know we were going to talk about Sonny Liston. But Sonny Liston, I think, is going to start getting his credit. In the book, he sets a lot of records straight. The other day on your show, I kind of got tickled. You alluded to the fact that after Muhammad Ali passes away and goes to the big skies, the truth's going to come out about those fights. Well, they came out in this book. He brings all that out, and it's really. I watched a segment on TV about him, and the reason I watched it because I caught the name Sonny Liston is going to be talked about. We're going to talk about Sonny Liston. It's a local TV show here, and normally they never talk about boxing. they talk about the news of Las Vegas as kind of a Las Vegas Inc. type thing, which I know that don't mean anything to the listeners. I don't know why I'm going there. But that's why it was on this. That's why I was listening to that show, because they mentioned Sonny Liston. And this attorney that's writing this book, and I've never heard this before, and I'm kind of glad you brought up Sonny Liston, because I want to hear your take on this, and maybe some of the listeners in the chat room. In the first fight in 1964, February 24th, this author claims that during training, Sonny Liston severely hurt his shoulder and tried to get that fight postponed for 30 days so he could heal the shoulder, and a doctor recommended that. And Chris Dundee wouldn't allow it. He told him, no, you're fighting. And that's the first time I ever heard that, and I'm kind of curious to what you think about that, or some of the listeners.
You know, actually, we got a couple of very knowledgeable listeners in the chat room right now that might have a comment on that. Keith DeSara and Henry Haskup are both in there, but I never heard that, Tony. As a matter of fact, when I look at that fight, the first fight when Sonny couldn't continue in the corner, on a stool and said he had the shoulder injury, what I always remember is that look that he gave, and the camera caught it, and he says, I hurt my shoulder. And the referee comes over, he's like, are you coming out? And that it was a typical Sonny Liston look. He just stared at that referee like, I said, I can't come out. And that's why it's going to come out that not the second fight, but both of those fights against Ali were in the tank. He was in the tank for those. What people don't understand is that he got involved financially with Muhammad Ali and a group, not the Kentucky group that brought Muhammad Ali to professional boxing, but there was another group, a money group that was a silent group that put money together, and part of this was getting him the shot against Sonny Liston to win the world heavyweight title at the young age. And from that fight on, Muhammad Ali never made less than $1 million on a fight. And Sonny was supposed to get a piece of that. He was part of that group. And, that's why, that was one of the big reasons why, those fights ended the way they did. Tony, I can't even hear you. You're all broken up. Let me try and get you back, all right? So I'm going to try to get Tony back. We got a terrible, terrible connection all of a sudden. I apologize for that, but of course, that's the way things work for me sometimes. When we're trying to do things, we get something like this. But we will get him back on here hopefully in a second, and if not, we will have to restart the whole damn thing. So obviously that's what it's looking like right now. But in any event, that's what to me. From what I know, that's exactly what happened. And it bothers me when people talk about that whole situation the way they do at times. The thing was that he had a lot of other stuff going on with the whole thing. But anyway, I'm going to take a break. That's what I'm going to do before I throw my computer systems out the window. So I'm going to take a short break, and when I come back, hopefully things are going to be working a little better. We'll be right back. If you're in upstate New York and you need a trucking company, then you need Rosselli Enterprises. Rosselli Enterprises is trucking at its finest. They have it all: dump trucks, dump trailers, walk-in floors, flatbeds, flow boys, tankers, loaders, and a full line of roll-off containers for any job, big or small. Rosselli Enterprises is also the source for all your sand, gravel, and topsoil needs. Visit them on the web at RosselliTrucking.com or call 315-433-5115. That's 315-433-5115 and tell them Billy C sent you.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
We've got a great matchup tonight. Fighting out of the left corner is the #1 ranked contender.
No, he is not.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I am the ideal computer. I am programmed to provide only fair and unbiased boxing rankings. This fighter is the number 15 ranked contender.
Fair and unbiased boxing rankings? That's a new concept.
Actually, it is not. The IBO has provided unbiased computerized rankings for many years.
Well, we've still got a great fight tonight, folks. In the left corner is the number 15 ranked contender.
The IBO, the champion of integrity. Learn more at IBOBoxing.com.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
As a young boy, all Billy C dreamed about was one day having his own catchphrase.
And we're back. And we're back.
One boy, one dream, one day, everyone will say.
And we're back. 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 And we're back.
Catchphrase coming soon to a theater near you.
And we're back. You're listening to the Billy C's Heavyweight Spotlight with Tony Triem, and we're trying to get Tony Triem back on the line. And I apologize for our technical difficulties. It really irks the hell out of me when stuff like this happens. But hey, just ask John from LDL TV. He's well aware of it. And speaking of LDL TV, you can check out the live feed right now on LDL TV because that's where we're at. If you want to watch the show, you can check it out on LDL TV, and that's where you can watch the live stream right now. And we hope you can join us. I'm still trying to get Tony back. Yeah, we're still working on that. So we will be with you in a second. But we're talking about the heavyweights. And actually, the guys in the chat room are talking about a new book about Joe Jeanette, a fighter that fought my man, Jack Johnson. And a lot of people feel that maybe he should have gotten a shot at the title against Jack Johnson. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what's going on with this. But actually, I don't know what the heck is going on with this. But in any event, I am really losing my patience here. People have often wondered what it would be like if I snapped on air, and I think we're getting close to that point right now. But let's see if we can get Tony back. And I'm shooting for that one more time before I actually pack it in here because I'm just it's not worth it for me to continuously get aggravated. I'm getting a little too old for that, and I know John from LDL TV is probably enjoying himself right now. But are you there, Tony?
I'm here.
Good, because I'm ready to flip out here and start trashing this place. And so talk to me, man. Talk to me about heavyweights, Tony. Do something, will you? Can you talk a little bit?
What have you been talking about with the guys in the chat room?
Nothing. I've been talking about nothing because nothing has been working, So anyway, we were talking about Sonny Liston before I had to redo everything. And I couldn't hear what your comment was after mine. So why don't you pick up from that thought?
Well, what I was saying when you told me you couldn't hear me was I knew about that Louisville money was Sonny Liston, but I wasn't aware of the fact that that was money that Sonny was going to get part of as throughout the career of Ali. I was not aware of that point that you was making. I find that kind of interesting, because in this book that I was alluding to before we had the phone problems, this attorney claims that he personally knew Sonny Liston all through his career and was an attorney for him, and really it was really interesting to listen to on how he talked about Sonny and his stare and how he tried to intimidate you and would intimidate you before a fight by that Sonny Liston stare down. But what a great man he was, and what a good guy he was, and how he did so much for charity and stuff, which I wasn't aware of. I don't know if you know about that or not, but I didn't know Sonny was big in charity, especially crippled children. I knew he was always good with children, and never would turn a child down, never would turn would always give a scribble autograph, because he couldn't write very well, but he'd scribble an autograph for any kid that asked for it. He loved children, but I wasn't aware of him big donation to the crippled children and the children that were ill. I didn't know about that. Did you?
I didn't know. I knew that he loved kids. He related to kids very well, but I did not know that he was involved with charities. And Henry Haskip is in the chat room right now, and he says that, he said something pretty cool. He says he's got the original gloves that when he fought Chuck Wepner, which is really cool. But he says he's underrated today, and I agree with that, and that's what started this whole conversation. I believe he's grossly underrated. I think he had one of the best jabs in the history of the heavyweight division. He had power in both hands. As a matter of fact, I think that if he had the luxury of having, a better, if he learned a little more about boxing, I think we would have seen one of the greatest fighters of all time. I mean, this was a guy that had a definite mean streak, and he possessed those natural skills. Freak arm span. I mean, what was it? 86 inches was his wingspan?
Something like that. Yeah, he had and hands. Oh my God. His hands would come clear up above your wrist when you're shaking hands with him. When I shook hands with him, I couldn't believe the size of his hands. And Henry's right. He is very, very underrated. And I rank Sonny Liston pretty high in my top 10. In fact, I list him above Muhammad Ali as far as a prize fighter goes in skill. I think that much of Sonny Liston, and I think he was that good of a prize fighter.
The thing with Sonny was that the public just didn't like him. He just was. I think he would have survived. I got a question for you, and like Keith Tessara, Henry Haskip, they're both in the chat room now. My man Chatty. I mean, what do you think if Sonny Liston were around today? The same Sonny Liston, okay? And I'm not going to ask the question, could he have beaten Nick Klitschko or anything? No, none of that. My question is a little different. My question is this: if Sonny Liston were around today, would the public have hated him as much as they did when he was around? What do you think, Tony?
No, I do not. No. The problem back in the 50s and 60s when Sonny came on this boxing scene, he was a thug. He was been in and out of prison. He was in and out of trouble all of his life. He didn't even know his real true age. He was a messed up kid. And no, I don't think that he would be disliked today like he was back then. I think he would have been accepted. I think his boxing ability and his skills inside the prize ring would have carried him through, and I think he'd be loved today.
Yeah,
my personal opinion.
They don't even know his middle name. His mother, he didn't even know it, right?
No. He has no clue.
Right.
He was picking cotton. He was one of, I think, 13 children, and he was out in the cotton fields when he was 1 and 2 years old, sitting around the cotton fields while his mom and dad was in the cotton fields. His dad ran off with another woman and left his mother and 13 children. And Sonny, he didn't have a chance, to be honest. And growing up, and he grew up on the streets and became a thug, and he never lost the persona of being a thug, and so it carried through with him. And it didn't go over in the 60s, but I think that would have been overlooked today. I think they'd have looked at his ring skills, and I think he'd have been okay, and I think he'd have been very, very highly revered as a prize fighter today.
I think that demeanor of his would have made him boatloads of cash. I mean, think about Mike Tyson. You know, most people that I talk to today, you know, when we get into talking about the sport of boxing, I mean, they always say the same thing. I used to be into boxing. You know, Mike Tyson was the last guy I watched, blah, blah, blah. You know, and the thing is that, you know, a lot of that persona was that mean image that you know, coming in with the towel ripped, you know, around his neck, no robe, no socks, you know, just looking like he wants to destroy his opponent. Well, Sonny Liston did that, you know, 20, 30 years before Mike Tyson did. You know, Sonny Liston had his opponent scared to death to get in the ring with him, too. You know, Cus D'Amato, he tried avoiding to have Floyd Patterson fight Sonny Liston at all costs. When they finally had a fight, we all saw what happened after that.
Well, Floyd Patterson bragged that he learned something after the first fight, and what he learned is how to last 1 second longer in the second fight.
I know.
So, you know, I guess he learned quite a bit there. I don't know what that 1 second did for him, but, you know, you talk about, you know, Mike Tyson. Okay, that's a good example of, you know, Mike Tyson tried to be a Jack Johnson, the no socks thing, and, you know, that was a Jack Johnson deal. And he was trying to act like Jack Johnson, coming in with those high-top boxing boots and no socks, and the towel with in the center, a hole cut into it so it just fit over his head. That was the Jack Johnson thing that he was trying to copy. So, and if he loved Mike Tyson, they damn sure loved Sonny Liston. Because I think Sonny Liston would whip Mike Tyson in his prime.
Oh, listen. You know, I think Sonny Liston is very underrated. Really, I honestly do. I think that he doesn't get the recognition that he should have. There was a lot of people were against him. He just, I don't know. He was at the wrong time. He his whole life it seemed like he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, and he was very misunderstood. That's at least what I think. But let's talk. Well, there goes Tony. I mean, we can't hear a word Tony's saying anymore. And that's it for me, and that's it for the heavyweight spotlight. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but we will be back on Tuesdays. You can catch us between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. on BillyCBoxing.com and, of course, LDL TV. See you next time. Ciao, baby.